I'd like you to imagine your dream life. See the version of you who has what you want to have, feels how you want to feel, and is who you want to be. I'm Brittany Hoops, your hypnotherapist and manifestation coach, and this is the show where I'll teach you to master the full power of your mind, to guide you on your journey towards destination manifestation.
Take a step back for the ones who can't do that. Hope I separate from my past.
Hello there, travelers. Welcome back to another episode of Destination Manifestation. So today, we got lots of fun goodies in store. My goal is to help you combat some manifestation misinformation that's been flying around out there in these parts. I feel like Sheriff Brittany has come out to play here for this episode. So there's a scenario that I've been seeing with a few of my one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching clients. Not all of them, but a few, where they'll come to me because all the information that they're ingesting and learning about manifestation just feels plain overwhelming. Now, some of it is conflicting. They're constantly inundated with it. Every time they open TikTok, they have someone saying, you have to do this in the next 24 hours to manifest your desire. Comment affirm to claim your manifestation. Like all these gimmicky things, right? Which I hope you can see this, and I hope this isn't news to you. That's just an urgency and engagement tactic that some manifestation TikTokers employ so that they can get pushed out into the algorithm. Like, the fate of your manifestation has zero to do with whether you comment on their post or not, right? So it's like everything in life, right? Everything is sort of on this ever-expanding spectrum. The good keeps getting better, the bad keeps getting worse. And personally, I love social media. Obviously, I'm on social media. You're listening to this through a podcast or on YouTube, which are forms of social media. I love its ability to teach manifestation methods and techniques. I don't think manifestation as a concept and as, an idea would be nearly as mainstream as it is, without the help of social media. I follow some amazing teachers online. I've learned so much over the years from hearing how other people describe these concepts in sort of new and different ways. And I'm always trying to bring my perspective to describe it how I understand it. So all that being said, it's also kind of this free-for-all space, right? And it starts to feel super overwhelming and confusing when you have kind of any Joe Schmo calling themselves a manifestation teacher. Unfortunately, I wish it could. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll be the first one. I would love if you could become a manifestation teacher or a spiritual teacher in the same sense that you could go to school to become a 6th grade teacher kind of thing, I wish it was that important. I wish quantum physics and manifestation was something that was taught as a class, I just feel like that would be so important. And I would love to be kind of a certified university-driven teacher in that. But there is no such subject in all schools right now, right? So anyone can kind of call themselves a manifestation teacher out on the internet. Now, can I just kind of take a moment to make something as clear as I possibly can? Okay. I am not saying this. And I sincerely am not trying to say that I'm better than anyone else out there. I fully know that you will find some people that are more qualified than me. You will certainly find some people that are less qualified than me. But I just kind of want to share some cold, hard facts of why I am qualified to debunk some of these manifestation methods that we're going to review here today. I am a certified, full-time, professional hypnotherapist and life coach. Okay, this isn't a hobby, although I do very much love it. It started out as a hobby, but it is no longer a hobby. It is my career. I have personally studied manifestation for the past 17 years, okay? And that dates me. That doesn't make me some Gen Z TikToker. If you want that, you can find that. If you want somebody who's been studying this for as long as some of them are old, as long as some of them have been born, then that would be somebody like me. I literally first picked up that book, The Secret, in 2008 as a freshman in NYU and thought, what's this book everyone's talking about? And it changed my life. And over the years that I've studied this, that I've been in practice, I have helped multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs. I've helped professional authors. I've helped TV and movie actors. I've helped hundreds of clients to overhaul their mindset so that they could reach their next level using these spectacular tools, right? These tools that help you manifest, the tools of hypnotherapy and coaching. I've helped hundreds of people around the world. I think I'm almost to every continent by now in terms of a client that I've worked with, which is pretty cool. But I've helped them to transform their lives to the point where their friends, where their doctors, where their coworkers, their spouses have begun to recognize and acknowledge the positive changes that they've made, which is kind of cool. I mean, we don't do this so that other people say things, right? You don't need anyone to affirm that you've changed. But it's nice when someone notices, right? When someone notices a change, a positive change that you've made in your life, it just goes to show that it's noticeable to those around you. It's a big enough change. A change that is noticeable to other people who are consumed in their own lives means that something's actually truly different. And I mean, heck, I've even manifested insane results in my own life. That's what got me into the sphere of just how fun it is to manifest. I manifested my lifelong dream of being on the CBS TV show Big Brother. Some of y'all know me from that show. I've manifested free vacations. I've manifested my dream job of owning my own mindset consultancy. I've manifested literally my way back to life and purpose after a severe bout of depression. I've manifested over $100,000 to pay off all our student loans before we turn 30. I manifested lump sums of money. I mean, gosh, lump sums of money anywhere from $30K on the low end to $400K completely out of the blue. I've manifested building and designing and now living in my dream home in the Texas Hill Country. I've manifested my absolute soulmate of an angel of a husband and our dream Malibu wedding. It was so gorgeous. We had our dream honeymoon in an overwater bungalow in Bora Bora. I mean, it was just, you can't make up how amazing some of these manifestations have been. I am so freaking grateful for the fact that I stumbled upon that book, The Secret, when I was 18 years old. How lucky to have stumbled upon it right as I turned an adult and I could actually utilize these concepts and teach them and benefit from them and watch others benefit from them and help others benefit from them. I mean, the rest has really been history in the best way possible. So I genuinely hope, and because this is kind of where it's hard. It's hard to be a manifestation teacher sometimes online because I think you have to share what you've manifested in order for people to be like, oh, that girl knows what she's talking about, right? So you have to share, but then it's I always feel so awkward sharing because I'm I don't want to brag. I'm not trying to ooh, look at my life. And it really rubs me wrong when some teachers are like that and all they're sharing is their Birkin bags and their luxury cars and this and that. My point of being a manifestation teacher is not to be look at all the shiny things I have. My point is to be hey, what shiny things do you want? Let's help you get there, right? So I hope you know that I'm not sharing this to brag. I'm simply sharing it because I want you to know where you're getting your information from. And I want you to make that informed decision as you learned about manifestation, right? Anyone can start a podcast. Anyone can be on social media talking about this stuff. But I personally started one because I have valuable information and skills that I want to share with you. And I want you to help debunk some of these main manifestation myths that come up time and time again that are really just kind of serving to confuse people, really. And it's really not fair. I don't think there needs to be any sort of confusion when it comes to manifestation. It's actually quite simple when it gets down to it. So I want to break down some of the main misconceptions when it comes to manifestation. I want you to understand the powerful role of your subconscious alignment. And I want to equip you with some tangible tools that you can literally take home with you today that can help you fill in some of those gaps. So I just don't think there's any reason why any of us need to waste any time with this. Like, I want you to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to deliberately manifesting. And when you kind of buy into some of these myths or misconceptions, it can really kind of derail you and cost you a lot of time. And I just there's no reason why your dreams have to wait any longer, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm going to share with you the most effective tool I've ever created that will help you do this. And of course, I'm going to tell you more about that and how you can snag it for yourself during this episode. So I went on Instagram the other day. I polled you guys and asked you what were some of your biggest myths and misconceptions you had about manifestation. And I'm going to just begin to address some of the top 3 that came up here today, okay? Starting with number 1. First myth, manifestation is just positive thinking and being positive all the time. Let's bust that myth. No, no, it's not. I mean, like, that's part of it, sure, but manifestation is so much more than that. So first of all, let's just kind of clear this up. You do not have to be positive all the time in order to manifest. Whew. Just take a sigh of relief there, right? You do not have to be positive or think positively all the time. I see this with some people. They kind of start to get a little OCD about their thinking. They start to become the thought police, right? And anytime there's a negative thought or a negative doubt in their mind, it's like Abraham Hicks always says, they go, and they try to suck it back up. They try to take it back, right? Suck it back up. No, don't think that. That's, and I just want to tell you that if you're playing that game, that's not manifestation. That's superstition, okay? And there's a difference there. Just kind of like if you ate one cookie's not going to make you obese or overweight, right? One doubt, one negative thought here or there that comes up is not going to derail your alignment, your vibration, your manifestation. Where we need to start working on these things that do derail your alignment, your vibration, manifestation is when we look at patterns, right? Is when we look at belief systems. We look at patterns over time. What are patterns? Patterns are repeated, keyword repeated, actions and thoughts. They're not the occasional one-offs. Okay, if you occasionally one-off do something, that's not a pattern. And therefore, it's not something that should be concerning to us. We're looking at the chronic vibration you're emitting. And these things are created by repeated thoughts and actions over time. So it's kind of like, I like to think of it this way, and I've probably used this analogy before. It's kind of like steering a huge ship, like a big cargo ship out on the ocean, right? You can't just do this little a little 180 turn real quick, right? Your ship would completely capsize. It would completely fall over. You have to take big, slow, wide turns. And so if you've been thinking negatively, or if you've been doubting yourself for years, then yeah, you've been steering that ship in the direction that's not going to lead you to your destination manifestation. But that doesn't mean that you need to go be some happy-go-lucky, positive Polly all the time, okay? I mean, I really wish it was like as scientific and quantitative as I could give you kind of this concrete percentage split of like this percent of negative thoughts and this percent of positive thoughts, and like that will make sure you manifest. I really wish it worked that way, but it kind of doesn't work that way. Instead, I want you to use those negative thoughts that occasionally pop up in your mind to learn, right? To give you insight on where there might be benefit to cleaning up your thinking. Now, a lot of us don't even have the awareness that we're chronically thinking negative thoughts. I mean, think about that. I'm sure you know somebody in your own life that they're so negative about something. They talk about something as if it's factual, but it's like, no, that isn't fact. It's pure opinion. I'm sure you can think of somebody like that, where that person just they're almost like stuck in the quicksand of this negative thinking on a subject. And yet it's a quicksand of their own making, right? And so they don't even kind of realize that they're stuck in it. And that's kind of the sad part. So I think the first step, usually when I'm working with a client that's come to me for hypnotherapy and coaching, and they have this chronic negative thought habit that I've picked up on, I'll point it out to them, right? I'll bring awareness and attention to that habit, because that's where usually their frustration begins. They've been trying to manifest this big goal, right? But it's not happening. And they have zero clue why. They think they're doing everything right. But then when I hear them talk about it, I can see all the negative thought patterns. And even, once we get into hypnotherapy, the subconscious blocks that are there that are literally preventing it. And so a lot of time it's simply because they aren't aware of the negative pattern of their own thinking, or they aren't aware of the subconscious block. And that's what's so awesome about hypnotherapy is like, we can take these things that are subconscious, meaning below your conscious awareness, subconscious, and we can make it conscious to you now. And all of a sudden you can go, oh, that's why. And when you're conscious of something, you can now deliberately do something about it. And so I know when I have a negative thought or a doubt that pops in about the thing that I'm manifesting, I love to coach on it. Now, if you have a coach, you can bring those thoughts to your sessions. I can't tell you how often I'll work with clients and they'll be like, so this is what happened today, and these were the thoughts I'm having about it. And we just kind of inspect the thoughts, right? Your coach can help you inspect your thinking. They can help you bring awareness to it. They can help you learn from it, see it where it came from, see the other side of it. They can help you reframe it, debunk it for you, right? Now, luckily, I am a coach, so I oftentimes coach myself quite a bit. Or, I do occasionally work with other coaches as well. But I kind of like to think of coaching or a coach sort of like a hairstylist in a way. They're kind of the one that holds up the mirror so that you can kind of see the back of your head, right? Where it's kind of hard to see back there. Like, they help you see the back of your thinking. A hypnotherapist helps you see the way back of your thinking, which is your subconscious thinking, right? Sometimes you need help to be able to see that. It's the same with our thinking patterns in our mind. A good coach can help you see patterns and connections that you haven't been able to see yourself. And, it's kind of funny. Like, that was one of the things that I learned actually like early on in my coaching career. Like when I was first starting out, I would see these patterns in other people. And I mean, the pattern just kind of seemed so obvious, right? It was very obvious from the get-go. And so I just kind of took it at face value. I wouldn't really say anything about it. I knew it, but I wouldn't say anything about it to my clients. And then I remember this one particular client that, I was aware of this pattern that she had. I hadn't said anything. And sessions later, like months later, I referenced the pattern just kind of in passing to her. And my client had this mind-blowing moment. She was like, really? I do that? And it just kind of made me realize, like, oops, I should have said something sooner. I guess I thought you knew, like it was so obvious. But it reminded me how like things can seem so obvious to others, but are oftentimes we are not aware of them. So what may seem apparent to a coach or to an outsider or to someone who isn't in the thick of your life, it's so easy for them to see. But just like it's kind of easy, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this, right? Just like it's kind of easy for you to see that your best friend's boyfriend is a complete loser and a dud and totally not right for her. Like, you can see that, but she can't because she's in it, right? She's in her life. She's inundated with it. I always like to say, you can't read the label from inside the bottle. And the nice thing about a coach is that they will tell you what they see in a respectable, a professional, a helpful way. But they will tell you the patterns that maybe like your friends or your family members wouldn't feel comfortable pointing out to you. And that makes complete sense, right? Because they don't want to jeopardize their relationship with you. But a coach's only relationship with you is to help you manifest what you want to manifest. So of course, they're going to point out anything that might be getting in the way of that, And I think that's where it's just kind of really valuable to have somebody in your life that's just going to tell you like it is. And I don't mean in a degrading or mean way, like never. If you have any coach that ever talks to you that way, like run. But just like in a like, hey, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm reflecting back to you in terms of the way you're thinking about this, why it's blocking you, whatever it might be, right? And so, after that experience I had with that client, like early on, I'm so blessed that I had that experience because I now know to point out what might seem to me like something that's super obvious. And either my client's like, yeah, I know, I got that habit. And it brings some awareness to it and it kind of helps them to refocus on it. Or they're completely unaware of the thing and their mind is completely blown because they just weren't in the position to see it until it was pointed out. Or maybe they kind of had a small inkling that that was the thing that was kind of blocking them, but they were kind of in denial of it or like whatever it might be. It just kind of opens the door to say like, okay, what are we actually going to do about this? So manifestation is more than positive thinking. It's working through it. It's learning new habits of thought. It's releasing what no longer serves you. It's about growing. It's about self-awareness. It's about using those trials and tribulations that you go through to help you become the person you need to be. I know that you're probably going to hate to hear this. I know I hate to hear this. But if your manifestation isn't here yet, it's simply because you aren't the person who has the capacity to handle it yet. I'm going to say that again. If your manifestation isn't here yet, it's simply because you aren't the person who has the capacity to handle it yet. You've got to become that person. I kind of think about like at the very start of my fertility journey, right? It was back in late 2021. I was so nervous to have a baby. I wanted to have a baby, but I was so nervous. Like I was nervous about finances. I was nervous about how the baby would impact my brand new baby business that I had just started, my business goals. I was nervous if I could love someone like so deep enough to be like a good mother. And it's funny. It's like I laugh about it now because I have zero of these fears anymore. Like not a single one of those fears, genuinely. I've worked through all that, but I know it's true because logically I'm like, that never scared me. And it's like, no, it did. I know it's true because I have diary entries that I wrote from that time about all those worries. I have hypnotherapy audios that I wrote for myself during that time to release those fears, doubts, and worries. Like, at the time, I wasn't equipped with the resources and the skill set to be a mother at that time. Even though I wanted it so bad, right? I wasn't her yet. So of course I couldn't manifest it then, right? The things that are holding you back, like they aren't here just to F with you. I know it feels like that sometimes. Like I know it can feel like the universe is just playing this big trick on you, right? And the universe is this bully who just keeps dangling your manifestation in front of you and then just pulling it away right when it gets close. I know it feels like that, okay? But you have this desire because there's a journey you need to take to become the person who has the capacity to allow it into your life. So let's just say you have a goal of making $2 million in your business this year, right? But let's say that you only make $500K right now. Who do you have to become to let that money in? What support and resources do you need so that it feels safe for you to scale to that level? Now, if you know making $2 million a year is going to overwork you, and then you'll never get to spend time with your kid and your brain, and you're just going to feel exhausted all the time. You're going to hate life. Like your brain and your body will not let you manifest it. It simply won't. It's not safe for you to manifest it yet. But the moment you kind of go out on that limb and you think, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and hire that employee because I know that that's what $2 million version me would do. You hire the employee and then boom, all of a sudden there's like energetic room. There's energetic space there. You've created that space. And so now it's safe for the manifestation to come in. And I think a lot of times we think, oh, we got to wait until the manifestation's there. Then we create the environment that's safe for it. Like, oh, let me make the 2 million first and then I'll hire the employee. But I think sometimes, and of course, you know your individual situation, but I think sometimes we have to look and be like, okay, how can I create space first in a responsible way? Create the space first, and then that allows the manifestation to come in. You want a girlfriend, you want a boyfriend, and you're single right now. Who do you need to become to show up as your best self in a relationship? Are you ready to look out for the needs of someone you care about in addition to your own needs? Do you have time in your schedule to spend with that person? Like, you can't want to manifest a boyfriend, but then you work 80 hours a week. Like, you don't have time for it. There's no room. There's no space in your life for that person to manifest and swoop on in. So manifestation, really, it's less about positive thinking and it's more about being honest with yourself. And that's why hypnotherapy comes in handy so often. Like, it helps us become honest with the parts that aren't immediately conscious to us, right? The parts that we might not be aware of yet, especially when we aren't conscious of or aware of the reason why the thing isn't manifesting. That's kind of like the best time to use hypnotherapy is like, I don't know why this isn't happening. So let's just consider this myth debunked. It's not all rainbows and puppies and daisies and positivity when it comes to manifestation. That's fun. It's certainly helpful. It's very much aligning, but it's also where we can use the fear, the doubts, the worries, the questions, the blocks to allow them to reveal something to us, to teach us where we still need to grow. Because when you grow into the version of you who can handle who you want to be, well, that's when the floodgates open, right? As Gabrielle Bernstein always says, the universe has your back. The universe only puts you in situations that you can grow through, that you can handle, you know? And I think I've been learning that lesson very strongly here the past year or so. Like, as twisted as this sounds, I can look back at the miscarriages that I had last year and say, yeah, they helped make me into the mother that I will one day be. And as heart-wrenching of an experience that was, right? And how I had absolutely zero control over it. And how I can now, sort of looking back at it, see the long-term gifts that exist because of it. Like, would I have wanted it to happen? Hell no. But I can see now with perspective that I am now stronger. I'm more compassionate. I'm more easygoing. Like, it's much easier to not sweat the small stuff anymore. Like things that used to worry and scare me, like, they just simply don't, because I know what like actual bad feels like. And usually most of my worries and most of my fears aren't actually rooted in anything bad, right? And so it's kind of helped me release a lot of things that used to worry me and used to scare me, because I'm like, if I'm not bleeding out, then this isn't anything to worry about, right? It's crazy that it puts it into perspective, right? I now know the true meaning of surrender. And these are just all skill sets and their capacities that, frankly, I didn't have before. And now I know that they're skill sets and capacities that will make me the kind of mother that I'm meant to be. So manifested mother me, that's who I'm manifesting, right? She has those skills. And now I do too, which certainly moves me closer and closer to her each and every day. And so I want you to think of the skill sets and the capacities that maybe you're lacking, or even those skill sets and capacities that you gained through really hardships, through things that fell through things that maybe didn't look like you manifested it, but actually was part of the journey that you needed so that you could. Whew, it's a tough one to tackle. It's a tough one to realize. Speaking of tackling, let's tackle myth number 2, okay? Myth number 2 is you can manifest an SP. So this one, I will say, this myth is littered across my TikTok feed. First of all, you may be asking, What the heck is an SP? So an SP stands for a specific person, that you are wanting to manifest a specific person. And it tends to be mentioned sort of in the context of manifestation and dating and breakups. So let's just say you go through a breakup, you were madly in love with this person. Let's just say your boyfriend left you, and now you want to manifest him back. He's your SP. Or it could be in the context of, like, let's say you have a huge crush on someone. You've decided that they are the one for you. And so now you want to manifest that specific person and no one else. So I say this as a myth. And this is, a lot of these myths are kind of complex, right? That's why they're myths. But this is a myth that you can manifest a specific person, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen, which is like very confusing, I know. But in my opinion, I just feel like it's an inaccurate way of looking at it. And I also kind of feel like manifestation teachers that focus on manifesting an SP are sort of, and like, I don't know, this might be too strong of a statement, but I kind of feel like they're taking advantage of you, if I'm saying it bluntly. Like, you say you want a specific person and no one else. And if they were being honest with you, completely honest with you, they would explain what I'm about to explain here, right? The complexities of this. But they're not. They're usually just taking an easier and more profitable answer for them would be, sure, I can teach you how. Other people can't teach you, but I can. That's why you should listen to me. And it's like, I don't know. I'd rather lose clients. I'd rather lose out on money and be honest than to promise the world to somebody purely because, but be lying to them about it. Like, that's not good business. It's not good business practice. So it just doesn't really sit right with me. Like, for example, I personally vet every client that I work with. I have some clients that are referred to me by therapists, by psychiatrists, psychologists. And if a client is facing, like, let's say, like a really deep mental health crisis, like they're being institutionalized for their mental health, I usually won't take them on, right? I'll refer them to a clinical hypnotherapist who specializes in those cases. Now, would it be most profitable for me to say, sure, I can do that? Like, let me help them. Of course. But that doesn't help them the most. And it also doesn't help me the most either, because my hypnotherapy practice is more focused on goal setting and manifestation, right? Not medical mental health. It's just not my specialty. So in short, that's kind of like what rubs me wrong when I see people claiming to help you manifest things that aren't possible to directly manifest, like an SP. So why I say it's a myth that you can deliberately manifest a specific person is for several reasons, okay? Let's break them down. Number one, we all have our own free will, okay? So think of it this way. Do you think that there is some guy or some gal out there who somehow has more manifesting power than you do, and they have decided that they want to manifest you? And even though you like someone else, nope, you are their SP. And they are so good at manifesting, and it's just going to suck for you. You are now destined to be with them. Your manifestations and your desires to be with somebody else don't count because you're their SP. Like, isn't that sound so scary and like awful? Like, it sounds ridiculous when we think of it that way, right? It kind of reminds me of this story. I was in preschool, okay? I was in preschool in the early 90s. And this boy, I remember his name was Jason. This boy had a crush on me, as much as you can when you're like 4 years old, right? And he brought me a ring pop to class, and he proposed to me during show and tell. Like, this is like one of my earliest memories of being proposed to during show and tell. And I was like so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready to get married. I'm 4. Like, I don't even like this guy. Like, right? I didn't want to marry him. I didn't like him. But here's where things kind of really went south. The teacher made me wear the ring pop ring for the rest of the day. Like, who does that? Only in the early 90s, right? And I remember my mom picked me up from school. I was so sad. I had this ring on. I was like, I am getting married. This is awful. And my mom was so mad when she heard what happened. She like marched up to that teacher and she was like, my daughter does not need to wear this ring or fake marry this boy. Do not make her. Like, she was really livid about it. And I feel like that story kind of describes SPs, like, we don't get to decide for other people who they like. You get to decide who you like, and the other person gets to decide who they like. And so to try to manifest an SP is like trying to override someone else's choice. Manifestation is a two-way street. That's why it's called the law of attraction. We each hold an individual vibration. So you can only manifest someone who matches your vibration. It's a vibrational pairing, right? So just like someone couldn't manifest you against your will and against your vibration, you can't do the same to them. So if your boyfriend left you, his vibration is going to be different than yours, right? I know this to be true because you're no longer together. If you were together, your vibrations would be similar and they'd be attractive, but they're no longer attractive, meaning they're no longer together. That's why you're no longer in each other's orbit or in each other's lives. There's no longer a magnetic attraction there because he left. So if you were to manifest him back, that would mean that you would now need to match his changed vibration, which his current vibration is, I don't like or want to be with you anymore. That's his vibration, right? And that's a sucky vibration for you to be vibrating at, right? That's a vibration that's going to be riddled with self-contempt and self-doubt. It is like not a very high-flying vibration. And it's not a good feeling vibration either. I wouldn't recommend it. And that's why I kind of feel like SP manifestation teachers are like a little predatory, because people who find themselves at that vibration of denying and disliking themselves, they usually feel pretty desperate. And they're usually willing to spend money and to buy courses and to believe anyone who tells them anything, and to do all the things to get out of that bad feeling place, because it doesn't feel good. And so if you're going to prey on people by selling them a false dream when they're in a vulnerable moment, that just feels really icky to me. And I just want you to be aware of it and to watch out for it, because it's not going to actually help you. So of course, this is all my opinion. You guys make up your own opinion about it, but this is certainly mine. Okay. Here's another reason why you can't manifest an SP. Okay. Your job is the what, not the how. So the specific person, if you want to manifest a specific person, that's like you saying to the universe, oh, hey, universe, I know better than you. Yeah, I know it needs to be Joe Schmo and no one else. Okay. I'm deciding the how this time. And it's kind of funny, honestly. I think if you know my backstory, you would think that this is funny that I don't believe in SPs, because all of this and all my opinions are coming from someone like me who essentially did manifest my SP. When you look at it, like, I had a huge crush on my now husband. I had a huge crush on him back in college. And what you know, we've been together for 15 years now. Like, it's kind of crazy. And so from the outside, it definitely looks like I manifested my SP. And so people are always so surprised when I tell them, like, when people ask me about SP manifestation, knowing my story, they're like, oh, you must know how to do it. Tell me how to do it. And if I wanted to be an SP manifestation teacher, I'd certainly have a very good example and story to share, but I'm not, because that's not how it works. The thing is, I didn't manifest him. In fact, that's the point. I liked him. I thought he was super hot and attractive and smart and sexy, just like I think of the same way of him now. I thought he was a great example of the kind of guy I wanted. And that was my mantra. That was my focus. I think I shared this in maybe it was a recent episode. Actually, I think it was actually an emailed newsletter that I wrote recently. But I really liked him, but I kept repeating to the universe, he proves that the kind of guy I want to be with exists, right? So it's either him or someone even better. It's either him or someone who embodies the qualities of him. He's such a great example of what I'm looking for. But universe, these qualities, like, model my person after this guy. Like, that's essentially what I said, right? Send me someone like this. Use him as the blueprint. And it's kind of like, so you see, that's not like me saying, universe, I need it to be this guy right here. Like, no, I didn't say that. I just said, hey, these qualities. And so it's kind of like, Let's use another hairstyling example because I don't know. I keep on thinking of hairstyling examples today. It's probably because I just found a new hairstylist after 4 years of living here in Austin. Like, look how great my bangs look if you're watching the video. I finally found somebody who I really love, which took like me freaking 4 years to find. So I'm very happy about it. But it's kind of like going to the hairstylist, right? And let's just say you pull out a picture and you show them a picture like, hey, I'd like this haircut. You could do that. Or having the need to go scalp the woman in the picture to get her exact hair to make as a wig. This is such a gruesome example, but like you see the difference there between bringing in a picture and saying, hey, hairstylist, I want something like this versus I need her hair, right? That's creepy. We don't do that. One of bringing in the picture allows you to admire the qualities of the person that you want to manifest and focus on those and feel good with those and then get your own version of it versus the scalping, which is needing it to be the exact same thing, right? You don't get to determine how your manifestations come about. You just don't. It's the universe's job. Let the universe do its job. Lord knows we have plenty of jobs that we have to do. Let the universe do its job. And SP is you saying, I'm going to close all the doors to all these other guys or girls because I know what is best, universe. It's this specific person. And frankly, it's just not true. And it's just not your job. You don't know that there isn't somebody else out there that's a better fit for you. And it might feel so painful when you're going through a breakup. You might have really thought it was this one specific person, but you don't know who else is out there and who you need to meet and what you needed to grow through to get to them. So instead, focus on becoming the vibrational match to the type of person that you desire so that you will attract that kind of person in. So when I had a crush on my husband, I knew the qualities that I wanted in a partner. I knew he had those qualities. I signaled to the universe, hey, someone like him, please. And then, wouldn't you know, we happened to be a vibrational match to one another. Like I was in such a blissful, lovey-dovey alignment, like beautiful, yummy state when I had a crush on him. It was spring 2010 in Manhattan, New York City. The tulips were lining Fifth Avenue. Like I just felt like I floated home like a princess every time I would see him when we went out with our friends. Like the alignment was so strong. Oh, it was one of my favorite times of my life. And wouldn't you know, he just so happened to be the path of least resistance to what I was manifesting, which were the qualities I was looking in for a soulmate. And boom, he was a vibrational match to me. I was a vibrational match to him. And those vibrations have been matching now ever stronger 15 years later, right? Our relationship, honestly, is one of the greatest manifestations I've experienced in my lifetime and will ever experience in my lifetime is him. So that's all I have to say about SPs. I'm curious what you think about it here too. But let's just kind of bust one last myth here for you today, okay? This final myth is I don't have to do anything or take any action in order to manifest. Now again, this is a complex one, and this is another complex one because there are examples of people where they didn't have to lift a finger to manifest something. In fact, I've even manifested things that way. I've manifested free vacations that just landed on my lap. Hey, here's a phone call. You randomly get a phone call. Your husband won an award at work and the prize is a free all expense paid trip to Mexico and you're his plus one. Pack up your bags. You're going next month. Like, boom, free trip out of the blue. Didn't have to do anything, right? So it happens. But again, it goes back to the fact that you don't get to decide the how. So for you to sit there and be like, I want to manifest X, Y, and Z, and I don't even want to lift a finger to do it. That's you instructing. That's you overstepping. That's you deciding the how. Again, I feel like this gets even murkier, I should say, because this is different than what we might think of as setting an intention. So it's perfectly fine if you want to turn your idea into a reality, right? You want to manifest it. And then you decide to set an intention for how that experience will be for you. So let me try to articulate the difference. So let's just say you want to create a business that allows you to be creative, that allows you to have financial and time freedom, that where everything just flows and there's just a sense of ease, right? That's a very amazing intention that you can have. That's setting an intention of the energy that you want that experience to embody. That is very different than saying, I want to create a business, but I will do zero work and I'm not even going to lift a finger. Can you feel the difference there? Do you feel the difference? One is speaking to your intention of the energy and the feeling that you bring to this manifestation. And the second example is you trying to dictate the how. See how those are very different? So even though it is, sure, it's entirely possible for you to manifest something completely out of the blue without having to take action, you don't determine if that's the way that your manifestation is going to come about. The universe gets to decide that piece. So if it's the universe's job to determine the how, what should we be focusing on, right? What is your job? Well, your job then becomes to focus on your own alignment, right? To focus on what feels good to you, to allow yourself to be led by the universe to know what the how is. So that's going to be your compass. I always think of your alignment as like a compass, right? It's your compass to tell you which actions to take, or in some cases, which actions not to take. I kind of like to think of it that old game. Do you ever play that old game when you were a kid in the summertime in the pool? Marco Polo. Remember that game? You kind of close your eyes and then one of you would say, Marco. And I want you to kind of imagine that you're the one that says Marco. And then the universe is like, Polo. Email that one person who was interested in your idea. That's like the universe. And you're like, oh, okay, universe, fine. You get that divine guidance. Then you take action on it. You go and email that person because the universe is leading you towards the how that it's decided for you, the path of least resistance. So then you go do that action and then you come back here again and you go, Marco. And then the universe says, Polo, now apply for that business loan. You get my drift, okay? The universe will guide you. It's going to guide you through your alignment, through your divine inspiration to the actions that you're meant to take. And you might say, Marco, and then the universe might say, Polo, let's rest on this and let's come back to it later. And sometimes that can be really frustrating. It can be really frustrating when you feel like you're not hearing or you're not getting the guidance or the guidance is to not do anything. And you're like, okay, well then why, right? Or you might say, Marco, and the universe just says, Polo. And then there's silence. Oh, that's the most frustrating of all. And that can be super, super frustrating too. If you don't know what to do, in that case, I would say sit tight. Yeah, maybe the timing isn't right now. Maybe the universe is orchestrating another way or another method for your desire to come about. Just don't force it. It's out of alignment to take action that feels effortful, misaligned, and forced. It just is. There's no more hustle culture here. We know that isn't an effective use of manifestation. If it's not a hell yes to you, don't do it. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels. Also, trust that if you miss a sign or an action from the universe, it will reroute you. I kind of like to think of it like Google Maps, right? If you miss your turnoff, you miss your exit, it will find you another route. Now, that route might be longer. That route might have more traffic or twists or turns on it. So it's always a good idea to follow your intuition when you receive the signs the first time, if you can, right? When you get those signs, when you get those pings. But don't worry if you miss an instruction here or there. Just get back on that highlighted route. I just kind of recently did this with my business and it was kind of funny. It really made no logical sense to me. I had planned out this big promotion that I was going to do for the new year, right? Lots of people in the new year wanting to reach their goals. So that's the perfect time to do it. But when it got to the new year and it got down to sitting down and doing this, it just didn't jive. It just did not feel aligned. I wasn't getting that ping to follow through with it. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do this right now. Even though logically it makes sense to do this now, I'm going to do it maybe in February. So we'll see if it makes sense then. I run my business in a very aligned way because I know to run it any other way would just be spinning my wheels. So it felt way more aligned to be focusing on other things in that moment, other projects. So the big catch here is that I have to point out when we talk about this is, are you following your alignment and your divine guidance, or are you avoiding taking action from a place of fear? And that's a question only you can answer. Are you procrastinating? Are you in denial? Because logically, it can be easy to get those wires confused, right? But subconsciously and emotionally, it's very easy to tell the difference between the two. Like, does your inaction, the actions you are not taking, does that feel good to you? Does it feel like it's the right thing, or does it feel bad? Because to procrastinate or to avoid something that's calling on your heart that you know you're meant to do, but you're just feeling scared about it, that usually feels bad. Inaction from a place of alignment feels just neutral. It feels good. It feels like the right thing. Or it just might kind of more likely feel like just like, oh no, I need to actually pursue something else that feels more aligned instead. Kind of like I did with my business. That's how I felt with this business example, I was like, now's not the right time for this project. I just feel it. Even though I know it's the new year and the new year only happens once a year and blah, blah, blah. I just knew it wasn't the right time. I know it doesn't make logical sense, but I really feel aligned to be working on this other thing right now that's really pulling at me, that's feeling like it's the highlighted route. So I'm going to follow that alignment. And then it all comes down to trusting yourself to know that if or when that other project needs your attention and it needs your action, that you will come back to it. Or you won't. Right? The universe might not need you to come back to it. It might have plans on handling it for you without you needing even to lift a finger. But manifestation isn't all one way or another. It just simply isn't. That's what I want you to take away as we bust this myth about needing to take action or not. Okay? So, how are we feeling? How are we feeling now that these 3 common myths are officially busted? Did you learn anything new? Do you see it from a different perspective now? I'm so curious to hear. Like, seriously, go over to my Instagram. I'm Brit.hoops. That's where I tend to be most active. I want you to DM me. I want you to let me know your thoughts on all this. Let me know if there are any other manifestation myths that you may want me to bust in future episodes. I'd be happy to do so. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. So my main question for you now is, where do you go from here, right? Let's say maybe you have a crush on someone. You really wanted to manifest them specifically, but you learned today that is now a myth, right? So now kind of these negative thoughts are starting to sort of pop up in your mind, but that's okay too, because manifestation isn't just about positive thinking. And now you just are really kind of lost. You truly don't know where to go from here. What actions do you take? How does the universe want to give you, right? And so I want to make all of that easier for you so that you can listen to those intuitive pings from the universe. That's why I designed my latest manifestation hypnotherapy audio, which is the ultimate manifestation hypnotherapy audio. I literally called it that because it truly is. It utilizes all the best, most effective techniques for manifesting and using hypnotherapy to do so. So it's a full-length hypnotherapy audio session that you can listen to before you go to bed. It's completely free, did I mention? Because I know you're wondering how much it costs. It's free. And it helps you really get in tune with what is that next step. Come on, universe, show me the how, show me the path, show me the route. And it helps you get clear on the intentions that you have for what you want to manifest, those qualities, the vibrations. You can tune it into it all. And then let the universe literally converse with you and show you the way. The universe speaks to us through our subconscious minds, through our imagination, through our intuition, right? That exists all within the subconscious mind. So, if you're ready to align your mind and truly just begin to unlock your manifestation power, do not forget to grab my free Ultimate Manifestation Hypnotherapy audio. It's pure gold. It's my favorite audio. I listen to it every night. I've manifested some amazing things I've talked about in past episodes. It's fantastic. I've been using it for years now, and I couldn't imagine a manifestation practice without it. So that's why I decided to make it available to you all for free. So just go to BrittanyHoops.com/audio. That's BrittanyHoops.com/audio. Or I made it easy for you. Just check out the direct link there in the show notes. So great job manifesting today, you guys. Wonderful work. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in the next episode.
I don't know.